Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that shaped how they see life, offering you daily wisdom to navigate your own journey with more clarity and hope. Today's guest is Noah May, a recent Auburn journalist graduate and host of three podcasts, who's transformed his decade-long battle with depression and anxiety into a powerful voice for others walking similar paths. He's someone who believes in speaking truth, even when it's difficult. Let's step into Noah's world for a few minutes and hear the quotes that's helped him turn his pain into purpose. Yeah, tell us your name and what you do, Noah.
Currently, I am a recent college graduate, recently graduated with a degree in journalism. Part-time, I do DoorDash for part-time, and I'm also a part-time podcaster. I've been doing the podcast for 5 months now, so
Wow,
I'm fairly new to
congrats.
the podcasting scene, and so I have just started doing it, and I've really enjoyed it as well. I'm from the great state of Alabama, from deep south. You can probably hear it in my voice. A lot of people say. So,
Yeah.
happy to be here, and I'm really grateful for you to have me on.
Oh, thank you so much for accepting my invitation. I'm excited to see where this conversation takes us. What's your favorite quote?
I think my favorite quote, and I don't know if it's a quote that's legit or something I made up, but I go by the motto, once a fighter, always a fighter. It kind of tells a lot to about my life story. It's kind of just the motto that I've used. I'm not sure if someone's used that same quote, if they have, I'll give the credit to them. But I came up with it on my own a few years ago, and I've just really have run with it. Um, it's a very inspirational to me due to my past and everything that I've overcome.
Well, Noah, what were the events that led to the creation of this quote?
I suffered from very mental health struggles when I was very young. I was 13 when I first got diagnosed with depression, fought suicide thoughts as well. I battled bullying when I was in middle school before I got depressed and dealt with it a little bit until I was in high school. And then all throughout high school, I was having to deal with my depression, diagnosis a lot, trying to figure out what it meant, what it was, and try to learn a little bit about how to live with it. And then my senior year of high school, I got diagnosed with anxiety. Anxiety to me was very not known to anyone near me, so no one really exactly knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I was in and out of school for 2 or 3 months until the pandemic had happened. Before then, I was in and out of school, just couldn't even get up and leave the house because my anxiety had gotten so bad. And so after the pandemic had happened, I kind of got the opportunity to be able to focus on myself and was able to really work on my mental state. And then once I started college, I was still having to battle depression as well as now anxiety. And I came up with the thing, always a fighter, or once a fighter, always a fighter, because through the hard times and struggles that I've been through, I've always been able to come out on top. I fought through it. And fighter is actually a tattoo on my arm. It kind of resembles the um, road and progress from it. This was, I think, the second one I got. So I've had this one for about, I think, going on 3 years now. So it's been part of me, and it kind of shows the character of who I am. And I also have a survivor on my right arm as well, and that also plays a huge factor in just how my journey with mental health and the struggles I dealt with have gotten me to this point.
Yeah. One of the things that I I like to take from the quote is that being a fighter is an identity. It's not just, oh, you happen to, you fought one time and you're like, yeah, I'm a fighter. No, it's not because of your crimes. It's what you became because of all those things you went through. And yeah,
Yeah, 100% agree. And it's not just been one battle I've fought, it's been multiple battles. Some have been years apart and some have been back to back to back. It gets to the point where you don't want to fight anymore. I've had moments like that where I didn't want to fight anymore. I just gave up. But then something in the back of my brain always told me just don't give up. You've got it. You've fought through it once. You can fight through it again. Don't let that whatever's fighting you win. You want to become number one on top and conquer whatever's coming at you.
yeah, that's true. I just want us to zoom in on, those some of those battles, right? I know when you asked for the stories, you kind of like give us a top level, oh, this or that, right? Have there been a time, at very specific points where you felt like giving up?
When I first got diagnosed with depression, it was very much of a, I don't know what was happening. I got diagnosed when I was 13. I was in eighth grade, and my everything around me was kind of falling apart. My grandmother had just recently got diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's, so she had just got a battle and got diagnosed with that. People at my school were being kind of rude and very disrespectful to me. I started picking up on their bad behavior, and their bad behavior started to influence me to start doing the stuff they were doing. Um, I really gave up on just wanting to do schoolwork at all. I let just all my deep thoughts try to conquer my brain and thought process. So I never attempted to do suicide, but I had those thoughts because I was kind of scared to actually go through with it. And I also didn't really have the resources at the time to really fully commit to it. I couldn't really go out and secretly buy anything like pills or anything because I'm from a small town. I live in a very small farm town, and for
Everybody
people
knows
that live in
everybody.
small towns,
Everybody knows
everybody
it.
knows everybody.
Yeah.
So people are quick to talk, and the word about what you're doing gets out around the whole town. So it wasn't a point where I could probably do it successfully at all. So I never did that. That was one point, and then another point where it really broke me was my anxiety diagnosis. Um, when I first got diagnosed with anxiety, I was a senior in high school, and we had just come back from Christmas break. And I remember I just woke up one morning and I had like nerves, and it wasn't nerves that I've had in a while. Um, I thought it was just a depression symptom, which I had never had nerves associated with depression. So in the back of my head, I was thinking, this is not something else is going on, but we couldn't really tell. Well, this same thing would happen for weeks and weeks, and I finally sat my mom down and I told her, I said, something's just wrong. I don't know what it is. I said, my depression's bad, but something else is doing it. And she said, do you think your depression's just really had a big spike? And I said, well, honestly, half the symptoms I'm having right now are not even associated with that. Because I was waking up and I'd have really bad stomach pains to the point where I would throw up. It was just every morning or like in the middle of the night. I would like shake everywhere. And I said, well, I've never had these symptoms with it. So we went to our family doctor at the time. He did some tests and ran some blood. I think they took some blood from me and they didn't find anything in there. They did some normal testing and said everything came back normal. And the question and response he came back with was, I don't know what's wrong. It's something that you don't ever want to hear doctors say.
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join. Or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
At that point, I felt, oh, so what I have is so rare that even our best doctor don't even know.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, well, what is there? I said, it's not my depression. I mean, some of the depression's in it from this. And he said, well, let me see if I can find out and do some more research. And so he said, come back in a week. Just come back in a week and we'll do a follow up. So the week went through, we came back, and then he said, I think you've got anxiety. I did some research, and some of your symptoms that you had shown and had explained to me matched anxiety.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So then we had to decide, where was the anxiety coming from? Was it my depression? Was it school related? Was it something that was just bothering me that I don't know what it was? And I told him, I said, well, school's been kind of rough, but I've had worse experiences. And he said, okay, well, let's try this test. I want you to stay out this whole week. I don't want you to go to class. I want you to stay home. And then we'll set an appointment up next Monday. And next Monday, I will have you come in and we're going to see if there's a change.
Yeah.
And sure enough, We booked it. I didn't go to school at all that week. All my symptoms. I think it took my body some time to kind of
I just
tell it, okay, you're
yeah.
not going to school today. You're not going to school. Don't panic. In actuality, it was that. And so, which a lot of people don't know how bad it got. I lost 20 pounds during that time due to everything exiting me. I weighed 140 essentially when it started. I weighed 120 by the time we finally got it figured out. My doctor had put me on Ensure, which is a protein shake that you can get from stores that you've probably seen on TV or commercials. He said, I want you to drink one of those a day. And he said, don't drink it all at one time because the Ensure has a lot of fat and protein in it that helps fill you up. And so he said to take just a few sips of it at a time, but I want you to finish one whole one in a day.
Yeah.
So we did that for a while. And luckily, the pandemic really started right when this happened. So I was able to do all this from home and school got shut down and I could really focus on it. He put me on strong medication for it. He recommended me go to a therapist, which we tried once, and the therapist was kind of I didn't like her, but I didn't hate her. It was sort of a thing of, well, I don't know if I'd go back. So after that, but the effects of being able to get anxiety had so much weight on me. Going to the store was just stressful enough for me. Everything that I had done beforehand was now a trigger for it. Going to the store, going to the gas station, just going down, meeting up with people I've had known for 12 years, going out to like to a relative's house, just driving in the car. I mean, everything. My anxiety was so high, and so it was something that I had dealt with for a few years. And there were points where I wanted to give up, necessarily because I remember I told my mom one day, I said, I can't do this anymore. I said, I can't. I've gotten to that point where I'm done. I can't do it. And she looked at me and she said, okay, we're going to find another therapist.
Okay.
We're going to do everything we can to stop this. Because I hate seeing you like this. I don't want this to get you down. And we're going to figure something out to help you get out of it. And so we tried some stuff, and therapy this time helped some. It was not 100% a relief. It wasn't until I got diagnosed or got prescribed an anxiety pill that helped it. So yeah, those two times when I first got diagnosed with depression, anxiety, those were the points where I just wanted to fully give up.
Oh, oh. I'm glad you were able to navigate those muddy waters and fight and overcome. Thank you, Noah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if that for me, it's the fact that for most of life's problem, there is no playbook, there is no manual. You just hand it over and you're like, oh, like what's this? In your case, like the first 2 weeks or the first 1 month, they don't even know what it's called. They're like, oh, I'm going through something I don't even know the name.
Right.
Yeah, and then you have to like on the job figure out, okay, this is how we deal with this. This is how we navigate this. And I think I just want us to look at what it means to be a fighter in this context we're having this conversation over, of course, right? In this conversation, we're not talking about being a fighter, right? Who like a boxer and all that, but I think one of the things about being a fighter is the ability to learn and learn fast.
Yeah. You have to think, for me, fast, because if you wait too long, it can be too late.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, being able to find the source and act quick was the key. I've told people honestly that the anxiety when I got diagnosed, I almost ended up in the hospital because
Oh,
it got so bad. I was losing so much weight, and losing all that weight has had future and still um has had consequences to this day. I've lost a lot of strength in my hands. I can't really open bottles or cans anymore because my hands had lost so much fat in it and strength that even just opening and twisting a little bit of a Coke bottle, my skin would kind of peel up and the skin would start to fold back on itself. And so it was one of those moments where we acted quickly about it and fought through it. And I was happy that I did because I think if I would have waited probably another week, I don't know where I would have been.
oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, learn fast. Okay. Well, just I just want you to nudge a bit and ask you for a different quality. What other thing would you say makes a fighter? Because being a fighter is not a title. It's not being a fighter is a premise based on the number of battles you fought. Right? It's not, we announced you to be a fighter. There's no announcement anywhere. It's just that, oh, I went through this, I went through this, I went through this, right? It's weird to say, oh, I'm a fighter, and I'm like, okay, what battles have you fought? Well, actually, it's not that. It just like that's not how it's done. Like you should be able to mention your battle, and in your case, you've been gracious enough to mention some of the battles you fought. And so I want to ask, apart from learning fast, right, adapting with the because as a fighter, the opponent changes over time, right? From anxiety to and what was the other thing you mentioned again before anxiety?
Depression.
Yeah, depression. Yeah, depression, and it's the opponent is changing, and that's how life is. The challenges is just changing, and what other skill or characteristics would you say um every fighter has other than learning fast?
For me, it would be perseverance
Oh,
and
okay.
resilience a lot. Um, just showing how dedicated you are as I think shows a really good fighter that you're willing to do anything it takes to not get beat. Um, so, and I think and being able to talk about it shows you how strong you are and shows you how much of a fight you did put up to be here. Um, I would say for where if you really have to work hard for it when you're fighting for something, it's not something that it's easy to do. This fighting that I had to do against my mental health was not easy.
Yeah,
It took a lot of trial and error. It took a lot of reflecting and trying to really pinpoint a solution for it. It made me, I say, for me, for the fighting, it got tiring very quickly. I got very physically was exhausted trying to figure out, and the fight that I had to put in there, it drained me. Literally, there were times where I was just so drained and didn't want to just get up out of bed, and but I had to because I thought if I keep laying here, I'm not showing that I'm fighting for it. I'm just letting it overpower and overcome, and that's not what being a true fighter is. Being a true fighter is someone that will stand up and be like, no, I'm not going to let this get me down. It's
yeah,
showing that you're willing to put in the hard work, and the accomplishments that you'll feel after it are so rewarding that you'll be so happy that you were able to fight and not let whatever was in your way get you down and block
yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Earlier on, in the course of introducing yourself, you mentioned that you are a podcaster. And what's the name of your podcast, and what's the podcast about?
you. My podcast is Lethal Venom. It's more of a variety show. I've had a lot of people come on from all different backgrounds. We've talked about mental health. Mental health has been a very much reoccurring theme for my show. I've started the podcast as a way for me to get my voice out for people. People didn't really want to listen to what I say when I really needed them. And so now it's my opportunity to be able to say what I want to say and be able to have it out there. Now they could listen to it and still not listen to it, but I've had people listen, and I've had very much people that have reached out and said, I appreciate you so much for that episode. And um, it's really about telling the truth a lot. Sometimes the truth hurts, even if because some people don't like to hear the truth because I know it'll hurt them. So my podcast focuses on nothing. My guests have not lied about anything that I know. I've not lied about anything I've said on my show. Everything that's happened and I've said on there has been 100% the truth. And people can take it as they want. Some people probably don't want to hear it. I try to mix I try to make some humor and comedy in it to kind of make it a little bit lighthearted, so it's not completely dark. But there have been episodes where I've had to be dark and add humor to show the seriousness of it. But yeah, it's that's what it's mainly about. It's kind of a chaotic mess, honestly. Honestly, it's just like a huge chaotic mess. I
Uh,
don't quite know what the end result's gonna be, but uh,
we'll get there.
so people seem to like it. So
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Where can my listeners learn more about you and what you do, your podcast, and all the amazing things you're doing?
So Lethal Venom's available where all podcasts are available. The main ones that people use, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, it's on Amazon, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and it's on YouTube as well. Um, my social media accounts, if you want to go to follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok, it's Lethal Venom Podcast, all lowercase. And then on Facebook and YouTube, it's Noah's Podcast. Those are more kind of, you can learn updates on those sites as well. YouTube is just the audio version of the podcast on there. If you want to listen to it on YouTube, it's there. But those are the main platforms, and I'm still working on some other things as well, but those are the main places that they can listen and learn more.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It's such an absolute delight, chatting with you and you getting to share your story. Like it's really, really inspiring that hearing other people's story where they go, they travel and they overcome. Right? It just gives you that, yeah, I too can fight my own battles too.
Well, I appreciate you so much for having me on and being able to share my story, and hopefully it'll help inspire some people on your show to know that it's okay to have what you're going through. As long as people are there for you and you have a good support system, everything will turn out great. It just will take time and patience.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.